I think what we're moving into now is a realm where we need to go cold turkey on some bad habits. That's a cold turkey, right? We need to get rid of some bad habits, right? But there are a lot of bad habits that I think we've formed as marketers that we need to go cold turkey on, and that at the end of the day result in the C-suite looking at us as business advisors and not necessarily data reporters. So in other words, it's the difference between walking into the CFO's office and having the CFO ask you or one of your staff, I'd like that web report now. Please have that to me tomorrow. And it's a matter of that employee saying, or even vice president saying, well, okay, I'll have it to you tomorrow, but what exactly needs to go into that report? Having it to you is interesting. By tomorrow I can do that, but what is it, in terms of the business analysis that you're looking to extract from that report that I can help you understand, because I think there's a fundamental disconnect. Does anybody agree or disagree with that? Many times you may walk into the CFO's office and just lay it on them, and then you come back a couple days later and you're having conversation, or word gets back to you and you're like, well, there's an expectation there, and that's why I'm doing a lot of speaking now with CFOs and CEOs, and many times they don't know that they don't feel comfortable putting you in that position, saying I need this business analysis. Stop reporting the data. Tell me how I can use this data in this type of an environment. Customer lifetime value, what to pay for leads. Show me how you know that we're paying $35 per lead using the internet. Show me the math behind that. How do you know that that's a good investment? This is kind of how marketers tend to see the social media realm, right? In terms of how about the experience, right? Where do I go? What do I do? So what we do is, as humans, we kind of take all that and we kind of grind that into this goo, and the goo is stuff that we know. It's lead generation, branding, PR, customer service. So in other words, we're confronted as humans and as marketers with all this stuff that we know that we should be doing, or we feel like we should be chasing customers down in that realm and doing something with them, and we don't know what the metrics are or any of that, but we do know what lead generation and branding and PR and customer service is all about. So somehow these things must relate. And oftentimes what we do is we get involved in things that we end up saying, why did I ever make that media buy, or why did I ever get involved in that? And this is fairly recent. This came out a couple weeks ago from Marketing Sherpa. And what it's visually illustrating here is that marketers are very interested and active in investing in social media, and they're labeling these tactics very effective. Advertising on blogs, online news releases, user reviews, blogger or journalist relations, forums and discussion groups. They're labeling those things all very effective, but they're not measuring them. They admit that they're not measuring them very well. There's something there that marketers are just not getting, and there's a gate. And what we're seeing here is just illogical, and that this isn't going to continue. From 2008 forward, we can't continue to make these kind of investments with any level of comfort. Yes?
Well, Jeff, it depends on the level of investment. And in my experience, most B2B marketers, I still have measured investments. They're still in experiments. They're not over it. For the most part, they're not over-investing in these things, and they're waiting for them to prove themselves.
You've got to be experimental.
If the company was putting 50% of its budget in these things, they'd be crazy. And I'd buy 10 copies of their book and spread it around. But do you think companies are going overboard in the percent of their budgets they're putting against these things?
In some cases, yes. It sounds like anyone who does business with you would be encouraged to not do that.
But thinking is behavior, too.
Thinking is behavior? I don't know that well, it's not once it becomes demonstratable, then I would suggest that it's behavior. But it's not behavior that I would suggest has a lot of value to it until there's a behavior exhibited by that. Yeah, have a debate. Okay. Yes.
How could they say these are effective tactics if they're not measuring them? Are you just saying, oh, this
You're singing to my choir.
Yeah, I'm saying, even this chart, that in Marketing Sherpa comes up with a lot of great stuff, but if you're saying, oh, this is a very effective tactic based on what? just because you think it's an effective tactic?
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at, and it gets away from the logic that goes into feeding these type of investments is very, I think, traditional branding, creating intent, creating aspirational value for clients, and then kind of walking away, not direct response, which is really what the internet is built for. Let's get down to business. Outside of less demand and more competition, let's put those things aside because the world has changed, right? Now things are pretty difficult. There's a lot of competition and there's less demand from consumers. Outside of that, can we agree that the fundamental rules governing business, your businesses, haven't changed? Can we agree to that? Okay, good. Can we also agree that the web is part of essentially an environmental change? Does that make sense? Okay. So everything is hyper-connected. We have mobile devices. We're always on. Everything's faster. We can communicate with people in other countries instantly. Right? So we've got all this change, but it's an environmental change. Has the world revolutionized? Is the world flat? No, not really. Okay? So if the rules governing our businesses have not changed, if we can agree to that, then isn't the challenge to adopt or adapt these digital tools that we are given, i.e. social media, to our businesses? To power our businesses, right? We are not a slave to Facebook, right? But why do we act like we're a slave to Facebook, right? We're not responsible for building a business model for Twitter, although that's all it seems like you hear about is, when is Twitter going to, we need to be doing something on Twitter. We need to help them make a business model. No, that's silly. So it's silly because if we continue to believe in the hype and spin that everything has changed around social media has created this new world for us, we begin to find ourselves, we risk finding ourselves believing that friends and followers and tweets and clicks and visitors and what have you are more important than sales and leads. That's what I'm getting at. Does that make sense? Okay. Because, or that somehow all we need to do is do that social media thing. I think we see a lot of marketers saying, they feel compelled that we need to do this, right? We can't be left out. Because I go home at night, I'm 45 or I'm 50 years old, and I've got kids, and they're on it all day long. I just talked to someone the other day who said their kids sleep with both their cell phone for texting under their, I think this was a 9-year-old, under their pillow and their laptop, both. Okay, let's not get into the whole discussion about radiation and cancer and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, that's just crazy. But, right, that's the world that we're living in. So we feel compelled to do this social media stuff as business people. So we can do it. We have to do it. It is important. I have 2 big ideas for you today. The first one is realign and reconnect. And what I'm talking about here is realigning all the goals of the marketing team around the objectives of the business. Return on investment, right? I know you guys are all about ROI, right? But what I'm talking about is not marketing ROI. In other words, who cares about or care less about conversion, how many people I get to my site who actually purchase or give me a lead and generate a business lead? What if those people that, that's exciting and all, but what if you're acquiring people at a great price, but you're not tracking their lifetime value over time? What if this is someone who just constantly uses coupons and digs into your profit margin so much that you can't make any money with that client, right? That's a business metric. So there has to be a solid line connecting what marketers do every day tactically with the bottom line.